So this is where I started hunting this morning, Saturday morning. I parked in this parking lot right here. I hiked in on this trail to about top of the ridge right here. I heard that turkey gobble in the creek bottom down here. I thought he was actually going to be off this west edge of this little alfalfa field at Osage. I hiked back down the trail right here, came down the trail that comes through this old alfalfa field. This is CRP now. Crossed the little creek right here, got on the little access road trail in the woods right here. And when I got to about right here, that bird was actually gobbling right here on the private land. I actually got all the way in here and he gobbled right across the fence. I tried to set 2 decoys right there. I hid in the tree right here. I hunted there for maybe an hour and a half. While I was there, I thought I heard birds gobbling in this draw up here, but they got quiet after about an hour and a half. So they actually sounded like they were coming down the draw toward me. So I actually moved after about an hour and a half, moved over to this little alfalfa field, waited there for about 20 minutes. Didn't hear the birds gobble. I called just a little bit, didn't get a response. So I snuck my way up the edge of this draw. This draw's pretty thick in here. There's a lot of cedar trees in there that you can sneak up the edge. You just go slow. You don't really get caught, but I was trying to come over and check this cornfield. This is the cornfield that I hunted on Friday night. I hunted right here on Friday afternoon. So this is a cut cornfield. This is also a cut cornfield. This is some CRP that has some trails cut through it. So I worked my way up here till it got crossable. I crossed over, came back down, checked that the edge of that cut cornfield, just looked up the edge. There's a ridge that goes through the middle of it right here. Didn't see any birds on that cut cornfield, so I followed this trail back up through the top of the property. I was just listening. I don't know where these birds went. I'm guessing that they flew down in the draw right here somewhere and then worked their way back north. When I got all the way, I followed the trail up here. I checked the CRP right here, the cut cornfield right here. The ridge kind of runs through the property right here at the top of the ridge. So I checked this half of everything. This is a cut cornfield right here. I checked that. Got all the way down to about right here. I checked this cut cornfield. This is where those guys actually had those decoys set up the previous Saturday. And those birds gobbled in kind of the same place. I thought they were up in here somewhere. I thought those guys were actually going to go around that edge and come and hunt those birds right there. But they actually stopped and set decoys right there, I think. Got to about right here. I heard a bird gobble. It sounded like it was pretty far north of me. I actually thought it was up here somewhere. It was getting a little windy, so I couldn't exactly tell where I heard it from. It was a long ways away, so I turned around, came back up here, got to the corner of the property right here. And then a couple minutes later, the bird gobbled again, and I realized that it was actually gobbling somewhere down in this section of the property. I guessed that it was down by this little like mud puddle or pond somewhere. I'm guessing maybe he was on the dam right there or something. I couldn't actually see him, but this is kind of thick right here. A couple different times when I've hunted this property, the birds do get hung up there in the afternoons. Sometimes they actually work their way across and fly up on roost behind this little pond right here. If I can hear them do that the night before, if I can put them on roost the night before hunting this little cornfield's not a bad option either. This is the west parking lot that I come in on sometimes. This is a cut cornfield right here. There's a trail that comes all the way up around this and runs you all the way up to this. This is a cut cornfield right here, and there's also a little kind of opening on the ridge right here that the birds like to strut in once in a while, but sometimes they'll fly down right here and just cross the fence right there and strut in this little opening. But that's one of the reasons that I like this property so much, is there's so much edge to hunt. There's so many different types of like terrain, ridges. There's a lot of different changes in it, so it's easy for 3 or 4 different people to go in and hunt different spots. There's openings and fields blended in through all the woods. There's open hardwoods down here. There's a little creek that runs down through this draw, and it actually connects and splits both ways, I think, and runs back this way. But, so it's kind of a fun little place to hunt. The problem sometimes is that the birds will get on the south side and stay on that ridge all day, or they'll get up here in the pasture with the cattle and they'll stay up there all day. So you just trying to find the times that they're in the property. I actually went, when I left Osage, went to this piece of public land. On GPS, it pops up as Twin Oaks, I think, wildlife management area. And on the Game and Parks website, it says James Douglas. But when I got to this parking lot right here, there was an SUV parked in it. This property's not very big. Most people walk down the trail right here and either cross the railroad tracks and hunt the river bottom, or they follow this trail up and hunt the ridge top. But there's really not room for 2 or 3 different people to hunt there. I didn't know how many people got out of that SUV, so I didn't want to barge in on them. It was about 10:30 in the morning. So, and I also have been watching, or not watching, but kind of researching this other property just through aerial photos. It sets up a little bit like Osage. It's a lot of fields, or fields or openings mixed in with a ton of woods. So it looked really good from the aerial photos. So I wanted to, it's been on my list of places to check out, to add it to kind of add another property to my hunting list. So this is the town of Table Rock. It's about an hour and a half south of Omaha. When I put Table Rock Wildlife Management Area into my GPS, it actually pinpointed me to this little corner right here, I think. I came down this highway to 627 Avenue, up this road. I actually drove all the way up to 715 Road and all the way up to this parking lot right here. I came in right here. Most of this, I don't know if this is or not, but I know that most of this part of the property got burned out this spring. Things are starting to grow back, but they haven't done it yet. So all the openings are burnt. There's no like cut crops or anything in there. They did not burn this half of the property. When I was pulling out of this parking lot right here, I actually got on the road right here, and there was I stopped on the road right here. There was a group of turkeys about right here. I think it was at least two jakes, maybe three, and two hens. I think there was 5 birds in the group, but it might have only been 4. I'm not 100% positive. They're kind of moving in and out of the trees right there, so I took a little video of them. I came back down the road right here, parked in this parking lot, walked down this trail right here. This trail actually comes all the way down into this cut cornfield. This is a cornfield that has the same thing, like 20 rows cut down, 5 rows up, 20 rows down, 5 rows up. There's actually a big power line post in the middle of the field right there. That's what that little anomaly is. But when I came down into the field, I actually came down the trail. It was about noon when I got there. Came down the trail, cut through the woods right here. I just worked slow and quiet through the woods. I actually popped out in the corner right here. There was some cedar trees kind of on the edge of the field right here. I just used those to turn the corner a little bit and look down the edge of the field. When I did that, there was one tom right here that came out in the field and actually ran away from me for about 20 steps and then jumped up and flew down to the edge of this little field. I just worked my way slow down the backside of the cedar trees. When I got down here, there's actually a little low spot down in the creek bottom that there was 2 hens down in the bottom down there. I'm not exactly positive where that tom went. I'm guessing that he came back this way and tried to get back up on the ridge back here in the woods, but he might have actually crossed the creek and just kept going west. That wouldn't surprise me either. So since I'd never been here before and it was kind of the middle of the day, I was just kind of scouting, and I had already spooked that tom right there. I just kind of worked my way around the cornfield slow to see kind of what this section of woods looked like, how thick it was. So I got down here, I cut through the woods right here, popped back out on this edge of the cornfield, worked my way back up the side of it. And I saw this opening from the Jeep right here. I could see up this little tunnel. I knew there was kind of a field edge from the aerial photo up here, but I didn't know what was in it. So, and wanting to know what this looked like, I came up the ridge, kind of followed this little trail up the ridge. This is actually really thick back up in here. I mean, there's some open spots. It's not as thick from here to the field as it is. This section is a lot thicker. So I came up this little trail. I actually climbed up the ridge and popped out on this little field edge right here. There's a road that comes off of this little field edge. I mean, it's not a road, it's just a 2-tire trail, farmer's trail. Off this little field edge comes back down this ridge. I got to about right here before I turned around and headed back the other way. I think it actually comes down and connects into this little field down in here to the back edge of that little field. So that's private, but you could actually hunt the little road coming off of it. It wouldn't surprise me if turkeys fly down on this field in the morning and then use that road to get back up in the woods in the afternoon. I did not have a chance or have the time to scout this little section of it. There is a parking lot right there. That's on my list of things to do. I'll probably do that sometime in the next couple weeks. Maybe use the last 3 weeks of this year's turkey season to go in here and try and learn as much as I can about it, to maybe add it as another place to hunt next spring. I think I'm going to try to park in this parking lot maybe next Saturday morning, come down this trail, hunt this field for a couple hours, and then if nothing great's happening there, I might actually come back to the parking lot, cross the road, check out what this little opening looks like. I could not see this opening from the road. This must be thick enough to just kind of block your view. So I don't know what that contains. But this is the section that was all burnt out, so I probably won't hunt very much of that, except for maybe trying to figure out if that's some kind of a pond in there. Might actually check this field edge, come down this edge, drop down into that pond, and then work my way back this way, or just move my Jeep over here and scout this half of it from the other side. So, I'd like to know what's on these two fields and what these fields contain. I'm guessing that this is probably, if the rotation is the same, this field, these two fields, and this field, if they're all rotating the same way, then that was corn and corn and corn. That was corn. This one was burnt, but I'm guessing that would make this a cut cornfield. And then I'm guessing that these two are just openings, and this is probably CRP, but I don't know. And this is just another like pasture type opening. But gonna go in there, try and get it scouted, and see if it's another place that I can add to just my favorite places to hunt list, basically, to try and figure out how the turkeys use it, how to attack them in it. The drawback to this spot is an hour and a half away, so it's harder to get down there to roost birds at night. It's another 30 minutes farther to drive. It's an hour total, both way, there and back. So yeah, also have been watching this, looking at this property from aerial photos. This is Taylor's Branch Wildlife Management Area. It's not that much farther south of that Table Rock property. I'm guessing that this would be an hour and 40 minutes maybe. This sets up kind of the same way as Osage. It's got a parking lot on both ends, it looks like. One on the northwest corner, one on the east side. So it's kind of the same thing. It's not as big. If you want to get to the middle, you got to hike to the middle. If you want to get to this corner, you got to hike a decent hike from both ends. So I'm gonna head down there next weekend, try and get into this Table Rock property and see what happens.